Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lakers Talk with Gerald. This episode here is coming at a very somber moment in Lakers history, Lakers land, Lakers nation, the whole world, global. Kobe Bryant died yesterday in a helicopter crash. 8 other people on board, including his 13-year-old daughter and 7 others. This is a very sad time. This is probably the saddest time that I've seen or since I've been a Laker. There's been some other sad times, but this one just is gut-wrenching. Especially since, it not only just shocking yesterday of his death, but also involving his 13-year-old daughter that was just really embracing life and getting into basketball and really loving it. You're seeing Kobe Bryant take her to games, and you can see the love, and the happiness and peace that he had with her and sharing that with her. It's just devastating. I'm still numb. I've been going through many emotions since yesterday till today. And I'm still going through many emotions, I've been constantly just reading up or listening to different stories, everything about what happened, listening to different NBA players and coaches being interviewed and just seeing and hearing their raw emotion, and guys telling their stories about how Kobe affected them, everywhere from young players to veterans to retired players. And Kobe affected so many people. It was just it's crazy. And a lot of us are just still in shock. A lot of us are still numb. We still can't believe it. Everybody I talk to, and even me, it keeps hitting me like this can't be true. This can't be happening. That could not have happened to Kobe Bryant. Not Kobe Bryant. Like, what are you talking about? Just the way this happened and the way he passed. It's one thing to have a long, full life and accomplish many things and then pass from your own circumstances or things you may have caused. But for it to be some just freak accident, from a helicopter ride, it's just hard to take. And then hearing that, the first thought I thought was when I heard the news, and it was actually, my brother James gave me a call. He was the first one to ask me if I heard the news, which I hadn't, because I hadn't been looking at my phone. I was actually doing a little bit of work on my laptop. But he called me and asked me if I heard the news, and at first I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And then seconds later, I get an alert on ESPN, ESPN alert, and so I'm like, wow. So then I immediately began investigating, looking up on Twitter, trying to see if I see people talking about it, and of course, tons of people are talking about it and asking the question, what? Is this really true? What's going on? And the first thing we heard is that 5 people total were in this helicopter and all died. And so we don't have the names of the other 4 people. And so then your thoughts start thinking like, wow, my first thought is, I hope his family wasn't with him. It's one thing to lose Kobe Bryant in such a, huge loss to the world. But, I saw him with his family, his 4 daughters, his wife. Such a beautiful family. And I'm just hoping and wishing that none of his children are with him. So, I kept looking and researching things, and so many different reports kept coming out. And at one point yesterday, ABC reported that it was Kobe Bryant and his 4 daughters. And that just, like, when I heard that, I was like, no. Please tell me that's not true. That would just be super, super devastating if it was Kobe and all 4 of his young daughters. 17-year-old, a 13-year-old. I believe the other one's around 2-ish. Another one's around 6 months. So I'm like, please tell me that's not true, right? So, and then not too long after that, I hear some other reports that no, it wasn't his 4 daughters. And then at one point I heard that Rick Fox was on there with them. And then you hear, no, it's not, Rick Fox wasn't on. It was just so many different conflicting reports. So you really didn't know what to really truly believe, And some part of me was hoping to hear some report that maybe even Kobe wasn't on that flight. Maybe it was just a mistake or something. But, with all these different multiple sources confirming that all of the sources said Kobe was definitely one of them. So, getting so many of them was telling me like, man, this is just crazy. It's still so crazy, so hard to believe, that Kobe Bryant was just at the Lakers games. He was just starting to come. He was just dapping up LeBron James. LeBron was just reaching out and giving love to his daughter, Gigi. So that's what it makes this so much more gut-wrenching, and that's what brings it home. And what really makes this hurt worse is that his daughter Gigi was on that flight also. Was on that helicopter. His 13-year-old daughter also perished. So, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And the timing is just, the timing is never good. It's just less than 24 hours after LeBron James had just passed Kobe Bryant on the all-time scoring list. And LeBron, they had just interviewed him that night, LeBron had just talked, he had went on and talking about how, from early on in his childhood, how he looked up to Kobe and all the memories of Kobe early on, how Kobe gave him like a pair of shoes when he was 15 or something, and how, Kobe's shoe size was 14 and his was 15, but he immediately put on Kobe's shoes the next day and wore them in the game, even though his, it was a size too small, and he was just naming all these moments in Kobe's history and how Kobe affected him and how he looked up and wanted to emulate and be Kobe and how Kobe had a big part of his life. So passing Kobe Bryant was something super special, and being in a Laker uniform. And then, it was just a short time. And then after that, Kobe even tweeted and basically gave LeBron props for bringing the NBA forward and continue on the greatness of the NBA. And that was actually Kobe Bryant's last tweet was to LeBron James about, giving him props and carrying on and bringing the NBA forward. And he had quote in there the number that he scored that passed Kobe. So to me, that whole day Sunday, all I was doing, when I first heard, I was laying up in bed on my laptop, and all I was doing for hours on end was just looking up Twitter, looking up news, looking up this, trying to figure out exactly what happened with that helicopter. How many people were on the flight? Was it any other family members? Learning the little details throughout the day, getting more detail. Okay, yeah, it was confirmed Rick Fox was not on there. It was only one of his daughters, which was devastating. You start learning that, okay, there were other parents on the flight also. You start learning that there was two other 13-year-old girls that were playing on, with his daughter's team or teammates in the Mamba Academy. And, the story just gets, and then eventually it goes from being 5 people to 9 people. But as you start learning these details, it was just gut-wrenching. And then I personally had moments of, I was just really in shock for a while. If, people were asking me like, man, I'm surprised you're not crying. I'm surprised you're not, being more affected by this. And I'm just like, right now, it's kind of like in shock. I'm kind of numb. It's kind of hard to believe right now. And me, a lot of times, kind of gradually as I take things in, things start soaking, it starts hitting me. And so as I start listening to different interviews, I watch Doc Rivers, start choking up and getting emotional and start to, look like he was crying, and just those are the things that start hitting me. As I start seeing video and watching pictures of him and his daughter Gigi at the game, LeBron James dapping him up, that's when the emotions start to come in. That's when, I start to feel those emotions come in. So it's really just an up and down roller coaster. And I started to get blown up, different friends were blowing me up. Hey, did you hear the news? You see what happened? Hey, how you doing over there? I was on, so as I mentioned, my brother James called me up. And then so immediately we three-wayed my other brother Royal. Eventually, we were on call going back and forth. Also, their father, Big Roy, we were all just for about an hour. We were just going, just talking about, man, the life of Kobe, how we feel, what's going on. As we were getting news, so we were also, on this call, but we were all checking out Twitter and the news sources and social media, just trying to find out any other, as new information was coming in, we were updating each other on what the new news was, what was accurate, what wasn't, what we thought of this, how long we thought this was going to affect the world, the country, how long we're going to be talking about Kobe. And, both James and Roy both mentioned that, this is like as big as like back when Tupac died or something. We're going to be talking about this for years to come. This is going to be, it's not something that's just going to be a few weeks, a few months. And at first I was like, okay, well, I don't think this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about for years to come. And then after they start like, no, we think it is. I mean, Kobe's impact is huge and the way he passed and all that. And the more and more, I've been thinking about it, and I've been seeing the news and seeing how it affects everybody, and just really thinking about, like, wait a minute, Kobe Bryant is a, legend in the game, in the NBA, all time, top 4 all-time scoring. Every other NBA legend in my lifetime that has been anywhere close to as great as Kobe is still alive. You know what I mean? So the Michael Jordans, the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons, Dominique Wilkins, like all the huge names, all those top 20 guys are still alive. You know what I mean? The Will, except for Will Chamberlain, of course, but all those other big names are still alive. And for Kobe to pass at such a young age and have such a wonderful family of daughters, and show that his love for his daughters and showing how he cherished them, and he was, seeming like such a great father, and seeming to want to give all his time and love and to be around his daughters as much as he could. And not only that, you can see how much they cherished and loved their father. You can see the look in their eyes when they're around their father. The smile and the joy in their face, and the determination and the passion that those girls had for him. And so all of that, Kobe Bryant, just living Kobe Bryant with him and seeing him grow from a 17-year-old when he was drafted with the Lakers back in 1996. When I really didn't even know who he was, didn't know his name, and didn't really, at first didn't think he was going to be what he was. And at first didn't care for Kobe the first couple of years because we had Eddie Jones at the time. And, I thought he was kind of ball hogging at first and taking some minutes from Eddie Jones. But after about 3 years, and I started to see I'm like, oh, Kobe, oh, man, this dude's the real deal. Kobe, this dude is something else. But just seeing his growth all his years, from number 8 to just winning those special moments with him and Shaq. Those moments, I've been a Laker fan since I was 12 years old. So I got to see, starting off with Magic and Showtime, win those championships back to back. And then when it was Shaq and Kobe, those years of Shaq and Kobe was just the biggest, most memorable, most greatest times of my life as a Laker. That was because those were just, it became the sweetest times. Him and Shaq times were just crazy memorable. to have two great superstars on the same team at the same time. You know, you got the dominance of the inside of Shaq, and you got the outside of Kobe, just being able to dominate and be such a dynamic player, and how they complemented each other in that form. And I mean, they're arguably the greatest duo of all time. You know, you can say next to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, but it's such a, so it was and for 3 championships in a row, back to back to back. I mean, and it's just the way they did it. And one of my biggest memories, one of my biggest and most exciting memories is when Shaq and Kobe, and I think it was for the first championship out of the 3, and they were playing against Portland in the semifinals. If you guys didn't know, Portland was just dominating that whole year. Every time the Lakers played Portland was basically, they were such a dominant team, kicking everybody's butt. Whenever they played the Lakers during the regular season, they were so tough. I was always nervous when they played them. And it was 7th game of the semifinals, the conference finals. We were down 14, 15 points going into the 4th quarter. It looked like the Lakers were going to lose that game. I remember I was in the Navy at the time, and I remember watching with a group of other people. We were all in this lounge, and I was a Laker fan. I had bought this bottle of champagne because my plan was I was going to pop this bottle of champagne after the Lakers won that game, and we were going to celebrate going to the finals. And, you know, going into the 4th quarter, down by 15, everybody was giving me stuff, talking crap, laughing. Oh, you got, you got a bottle of champagne, the Lakers going to lose. And then the Lakers slowly started coming back. Kobe, Shaq, coming back. And then the most memorable moment was 40-something seconds. Kobe dribble drive, cuts in, starts to drive, and he throws that lob up, and Shaq goes up and reaches and dunks. And I went crazy. The crowd went crazy. Shaq went crazy. I mean, that was the best feeling. I mean, up to my point in time as a Laker, I was ecstatic. I had my champagne. The Lakers went on to go to the finals and win that championship. And, I mean, just the greatest feeling. I mean, that was the best feeling I'd had as a Laker. And then they continued on to win 2 more championships. So that's just Kobe, Shaq, early, number 8. Man, I mean, they're a part of my life. They're a huge part of my life since I was 12 years old. So Kobe, I watched him since he was 17 years old. I remember going to the Great Western Forum. Now, it's crazy how Kobe's 20 years on the Lakers paralleled my time in the Navy. Kobe got drafted in 1996. I joined the Navy in March of 1996. Kobe retired in 2016. I retired from the Navy in 2016. So I remember going in 1996 year, Kobe was a rookie. I remember waiting at the Great Western Forum. They had this area where it was a gate area where guys would drive their cars out, right? And you can, everybody, all the, crowd was waiting behind the gates, waiting to the players after they showered and stuff out, and watch them come out, drive their cars out. And so I remember seeing a 18-year-old Kobe come driving out with this, I think it was a white drop-top Benz. And I remember he had these glasses on, and I remember he was all leaning back, all cocky with one arm. You could just tell, he was an 18-year-old. And I just remember, man, I mean, I must be living a life. 18-year-old, you getting paid millions or whatever, a huge amount of money. I just remember so I remember seeing him in the game that young. And then I remember over the years catching Lakers games and seeing them play. And even the greatest thing for me, I was so happy that I was able to catch. I told myself I was going to catch Kobe play in one of the games, at least one games in his last year. And I was able to do that. I was able to go. I was living in Virginia at the time, so I was able to go catch the last game Kobe played in D.C. when he played Washington. And at that time, his last year, Kobe was up and down. Some games he had really bad games. Some days he would kind of be hot and he would have a really good game. And that game in D.C., he happened to have a good game. It was so exciting. The whole crowd in D.C. was rooting for Kobe. I remember Kobe started going off and hitting these shots in the fourth quarter, back to back, hitting three-pointers. Kobe ended up winning the game for him because we was down against the Wizards, and Kobe ended up winning the game. The whole crowd was cheering in D.C. The Lakers crowd just took over. They were chanting Kobe. That thing was crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got pictures somewhere, but they're probably saved somewhere in one of my hard drives. I got to find it. I'm sure I got a bunch of pictures of that, so I'm going to have to pull that up, and I'm going to try to post it sometime once if I can find it on one of my old hard drives. But just all these great memories. But one of these things I just want to say, everybody, is that once again it shows you that, you know, life isn't guaranteed. You know, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. You know, it shows us that we need to live our life to our fullest. Cherish the people around us that we care for. You know, don't hesitate. Don't be too proud to tell people that you love them, you miss them. You know, don't hold on to grudges. You know, if there's something that happened years ago, sometimes you got to let that go. You know, because try to cherish the time you have with somebody, because you never know when, you know, it's too late. You're not going to get those moments. You know, and you realize after somebody's gone that something you thought was something big really wasn't, you know, and it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So don't hesitate to tell your loved ones, your family, that you love them and you miss them, and spend time with the people that you cherish, you know. Everybody, you know, I'm gonna continue to do more podcasts. It had been a while. It took me a while to decide to do one because, you know, I was still numb. I didn't want to just jump on there and just get on there and start doing some podcasts, but I have to get on there and talk about Kobe. I have to, you know, we have to talk about his life. I have to talk about what's going on, how I feel, how everyone is feeling, and you know, just share what's going on in this time. Of course, the next podcast I do, it's going to be, you know, probably continue to talk about more thoughts and things about Kobe's life and other developments. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this podcast, you know, in memory of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, 13-year-old daughter, Gigi. May you guys rest in peace, and you guys are always going to live on in our hearts. I am out.